Right. Is it going to be banned out? Are they going to let it slip through? Will they take it again? I think yes, really.
So
there's going to be an ember somewhere.
Meepo banned first time, this time again. So that's the 4th game in a row now we've seen that, including the 2 that we had yesterday evening.
I'm not too surprised at that. I'm curious if they're going to see a Darkseer ban or if they're just going to draft better against it. Because I'm sure NP would love to just grab it again. I mean, they're already 1 game up.
Yeah.
They ran it successfully. They played it very well. I'm sure they have lots of like a Rolodex of other heroes that fit into the strat.
That's exactly the same bans as we had first time round.
I think, wasn't it Naga Marana?
Oh, you're right, actually, it was the...
So because that's not banned, they take it first.
They're gonna go
so,
yeah,
that's a bit of a change up there.
So they could still do it, but it's also possible that MP just has like 2 or 3 strats they like. Mirana's obviously a fixture that has been for months. Usually they combo with a Warlock, just for Fatal Bonds, amplify damage, and strong team fighting too. Usually it's Envy that plays Mirana in the mid lane. Could definitely see that again.
Do you think it's interesting that they choose to open with a completely different lineup, despite the fact that they could have easily gone for the Darkseer opener?
Well, I mean, their first pick this time. Last time they were 2nd pick, I believe.
No, they could have also gone for the Slaughter that we've seen.
I'm not feeling too good about Slaughter myself. Looks like Fnatic's gonna steal the Darkseer themselves. Okay, and they do the Warlock, of course.
Yeah, I do like the fact that Fnatic take the Darkseer, because there's every possibility that MP could have certainly taken that as it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't ban it, then pick it, right?
Yeah.
No, one really cool thing though is that the new Helm of the Dominator build, it takes some micro, and it's not something that a player can just hop into and instantly do perfectly. It takes a couple, like a pub or 2, unless you're a typical Shen player kind of a thing. There's a possibility that Fnatic will not be able to execute as well if they go for that same kind of playstyle. And that really was a lot of the advantage that the Darkseer provided.
At least they don't have to face it.
It's true. They know how to Iron Shell, I'm sure. Still go for the Disruptor though. It's very good against Mirana. Good at punishing a lot of other cores. I think they'll just go for safer lanes. Maybe Coddle is too greedy, grab something that's also a disable or a good laner.
You still like the Ember? No ban.
Will it be banned against Mirana? It does look like Envy just woke up. I'm gonna agree. Gotta be careful with headsets, man. I don't know. What do you guys think? Ember? Is he really that big of a threat? With Darkseer? I feel like most of it comes from the Spirit Breaker. It's hard lockdown, great dual lane hero.
So they're not going to ban it, and Fnatic aren't going to ban it either, so Envy can pick this if he wants it.
So that would work too. Slardar, Spirit Breaker, semi-interchangeable. So I think they're more worried about the aggro dual lane than they are about the cores they're up against. I just hope they don't pick Medusa again. I think that was not very good.
Okay, Lifestealer was still in the bot, and is picked up by Fnatic.
It's pretty good. Can kill Warlock Golem very, very easily. Not the best versus Mirana. They could do something... Oh, Naga's gone, obviously. Do they have any other setups? Spain? Something like that could work, but...
You think they need a vessel for the lifesteal, or is he just there to act?
Hypothetically, they do, but they've got Darkseer, so I think they could get away without it.
Yeah.
I think Quap is pretty likely, I would say.
It's a good pickup.
Very good against Warlock, especially. Good against a lot of heroes.
I think they might leave that till pick 4 or 5.
We discussed this briefly, but I do think Queen of Pain is a hero that just needs to go mid. Unless you farm it like in a carry position on the safe lane. We saw she didn't really challenge the Darkseer all too much. The Medusa probably was better up against the Ember Spirit, as you were saying, Kevin.
Yeah, I think so.
But that being said, I just don't think you really get much out of Queen of Pain's potential if you put her in a safe lane. And she doesn't have an item build that naturally progresses into having regen on the safe lane either, for her to just stand there.
I would kind of like to see some sort of setup for the Mirana Sun. Maybe it's there.
Yep.
Okay, that's a good way.
Okay. Yeah, that works. I mean, MSS, yeah. MSS Beastmaster, I mean, I think that's probably the second most played, I'd want to say. Actually, no, it's not. It's about 4 months.
The Ricky picks huge here with Iron Shell. With that said, though, Warlock very, very good as a laning support, just because Shadow Word's pretty OP. It's got a lot of high base strength, too. That's got to be the biggest problem right now. I think that MP has to address is worrying about that Ricky Darkseer dual lane. They've got solutions to Lifestealer later and other combos, but they also have to worry about... I mean, they could just put Beastmaster versus it, I guess. They could try to do an aggro tri-lane. It could work with Warlock. Great hero counter against Lifestealer. Ursa's fantastic against him. Ursa can also lane against Darkseer okay, but... especially with Warlock, that dual lane could be pretty self-sufficient. So maybe they grab a roaming hero for their last pick? Or do they still need mid? No, they've got mid.
Yeah, they got mid. It's very likely they'll go with a...
What's the solution here? Can't be Treant, because they've got Iron Shell.
Treant's not in Captain's mode.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
typical SVG pickups? Something like a classic, like an Elder Titan?
I don't think it's another Titan game.
10 seconds remaining.
Earth Spirit?
It's probably gonna be something AoE since they've got Warlock.
Remaining.
Earth Spirit could be really good against Lifestealer, I like that.
Yeah.
It's decent against Ricky, too.
Dire team.
But something control would be nice, something set up from Rana. I mean, it could be something like a Bane, but maybe that's too single target. Yeah, Ogre would have been great for Bloodlust.
10 seconds remaining.
There is a Vengeful Spirit, but I don't see it really fit a purpose here.
Oh, okay, NP's on Dire, I didn't realize that. They flipped the overlay here. Okay, I like that. That's very good in the lane, basically. Undyne's fantastic early game. His perks are pretty good right now. Can keep allies alive. Good teamfight disruption.
You think we'll see an aggressive try then?
I mean, they could probably just beat Darkseer too. Well, I guess they don't have good disable. That's the biggest worry. But they've got Warlock and Undyne for heals. So there's huge potential for outplay this game. And just like Tombstone versus Lifesteal, like there's so many melee heroes on Fnatic, they're gonna have a lot of trouble killing Tomb. And even if they like get up close in melee range with Lifestealer Rage, they can still get roared, or Ursa can jump on him and try to kill him. I mean, the Mirana isn't really very synergistic with NP right now, but I don't think it's a big deal. They just need to keep their cores alive.
Okay.
Okay,
Changes.
first one on the main stage is the Tinker. We're getting something new almost every game. How do you like the draft, Jacob?
We've talked about comfort zones a lot, and I think this is down NP's alley. And considering how Fnatic played game 1, I've lost, sort of like I lost my hope in Virtus Pro, I've sort of lost hope in Fnatic as well.
We are such a bringer of joy to the team.
I think NP is going to take
I think there's some sort of curse going on. Anyway, we'll discuss that and we'll head over to the commentary box. Capitalist, the game is all yours, sir.
Thank you, Paul. That's right, we're heading into Fnatic and NP game number 2. We are going to have things a little bit switched around, Blitz. NP this time, they're going to have very much the early game aggressive lineup that has a timer on them because they're facing up against a later game Tinker, but Fnatic are not without playmakers of their own. Lifestealer, very clearly a big tempo controller from that safe lane position. He's able to rotate in, and they do have a vehicle, maybe not the most traditional one. They didn't get a sword or anything like that, but they do have the Riki, which means they are excellent at being able to pick off the NP heroes.
Yeah, we saw that a lot at the Manila Major, the Riki plus Lifestealer combination that was really popular. And I am looking at this build.
Yeah. Triple
mango.
Triple mango Eternal Envy.
That is 3 HP regen a second against a Tinker.
Is this purely because Tinker and laser and miss percentage? Is this some sort of weird thing to...
I think so.
He has to spam Starstorm in order to get CS?
I see Envy laughing, so... It's just like, maybe he's just like, this is the build, guys. He has 43 base damage though. That is
so garbage.
That is really low.
I mean, Mirana is naturally just one of the lowest attack damage heroes. That was always the problem with her as a core, is that her attack damage was always so low to start. But all right, he's even putting them into your backpack, making them even more useless.
It is going to be an AUI Ursa that's going to be going mid, I believe.
Okay,
but that makes.
But then why do we have the? Because I was thinking, okay, at least you can do a lot of Starstorms when you're lasered. Now,
I guess it's
now why?
I think it's even better against the Darkseer just because he can't really bully you out of lane. You have a lot of HP regen.
Okay.
But I mean, it's still curious. I'm really down to see how it works more than anything. I'm only laughing because it looks ridiculous. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
But just because I've never seen it before doesn't mean it's going to be inherently bad or anything like that.
Yeah, in a new patch like this,
anything
you really can't. Yeah, you can't judge too much. I mean, by comparison, right? He spent 330 gold for these enchanted mangoes, giving him 3 HP regeneration. If you just got a ring of regeneration in the beginning, that's 325 or only 2 HP.
Yeah.
So there is some HP efficiency for sure.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm down.
But we'll see how his CSing goes in lane, because that is kind of the true test, right?
Yeah.
You can have all the HP regen in the world, but if you're not actually getting CS as your safe laner because you're lacking in damage, then the build may not be worth it. They're going to be doing a sort of a dual lane. SVG is going to be starting off as the Warlock with the very abusive level 1 Shadow Word that's going to be played against In Your Dream. So they're going to not let Tinker get this lane for free to start. Eternal Envy is going to have a solo lane at top for now against the Darkseer right now. Bebby is currently trying to do something pretty interesting. He's actually jungling with the Ion Shell on top of Mazariki.
Yeah, that is pretty odd. I think he just realizes, he was hoping that it'd be the Ursa so he could harass, but I think when they see Eternal Envy up here, they're going to realize that there's not a whole lot that they can do about this lane. You're not going to kill a Mirana. She's got leap ready, so it's very unlikely without smokescreen that you're going to be able to get a kill.
It is kind of interesting though, because he also takes this extra bit of farm away from Eternal Envy, right? If he can clear through this next stack. Obviously, the first one there was already the big creep missing, but
yeah,
if he can clear through this one as well.
I sort of think though that the Darkseer can just skip the wave, and there's not a whole lot that a Mirana can do. Like Ohio shouldn't be afraid at all. This is a 49 base damage Mirana. She's not really gonna contest you too hard.
With Stout Shield, if it actually gets a Stout proc. The Mirana is hitting like a wet noodle.
Yeah, and so Envy gonna already be pushed back a little bit, but I mean the HP regen is paying dividends.
What is probably the much more abusive dual lane is coming out from NP in their aggressive lane of MSS and Rose, Beastmaster, and Undying. Undying very clearly one of the best laners to abuse cores like this, so they're going to try and keep the Lifestealer down nice and early. That really is the big tempo controller that is going to free space for the Tinker, allow him to be able to get his boots of travel without being run over.
Yeah, Lifestealer hates this kind of game though, where you're just going to get contested in lane. Normally this hero thrives on getting that one-on-one matchup, but Rose already pushing Mushi back, and your support is a Ricky who can't really do too much here. He does have the Iron Shell, he's going to push things forward, but they have the Sentry ready. And we already talked about how weak Disruptor is as a lane support. This is exactly how you abuse him.
So they've got two Invis heroes sitting in lane, both being scouted out already by NP. Rose will ensure that they know that.
That is not a coincidence that you got the Kate there.
So all things considered, how do you see these lanes matching up? AUI should do pretty well for farm and mid. In Your Dream probably won't die though.
I mean, In Your Dream's doing fine. He still has 10 CS.
Yeah.
He can push the wave back, which is important. But as I say that, at mid, he's getting quite low. If AUI just chases this down, he could just get first blood. One more hit will do it.
He makes sure he gets the clap. They do manage to get a small fairy fire, but that's not going to be enough. The tick damage from SVG will secure himself the first blood. So while we were talking about how mid could go even, it very quickly goes the way of NP. So it means that the only real lane that's winning for Fnatic right now is this top lane for Ohio, where, as you said, he just kind of skipping the creep wave and forcing Mirana to do all these last hits underneath tower.
Yeah, Envy though, even with that paltry amount of attack damage, now has a phase boost, but before that point, still did a very good job of CSing.
Yeah, he really didn't miss much, and it doesn't look like he had to like spam out Starstorms a whole bunch. He's still rocking those 3 mangoes.
Yeah, Nemesis at bottom, continuing to just farm up, doing just fine on the Beastmaster. 12 CS to his name already is. Now that Ricky comes mid, they've got sentries, and it just feels like NP has been prepared for the laning phase at every turn.
Yeah, this is like the picture-perfect way to be able to counter a Riki, right? Very strong lanes where the Riki is not able to have an impact. You have two...
In Your Dream, he already wasted that laser. They're going to be able to chase him down
easily. He tries to juke his way through the trees. It's just not going to happen. Bebby throws out the cloud, but it's a little bit too late. Maybe he can get the counter kill, though. They heal over time.
Like,
looks to be up right. Why he's actually turning against Bebby underneath the creeps. He's dropping so low, 40 HP. He still manages to survive, though. Glimpse back, and they will catch SVG, or maybe they won't. Moonlight Shadow gets dropped, and they don't have any counter vision. So SVG, never mind.
He brought a dust.
In Your Dream, he's not letting SVG escape. He will take that kill. He needs all the farm he can get at this point to speed up his way to the boots of travel.
Did he buy his own dust for that? I mean, that's a heads-up play. He needed the gold. He made it back right now. That's not something you can just let them get away with. But this Tinker has struggled mightily. The rest of the side lanes are going just fine for NP. Once again, off to a good start. Fnatic, though, their lineup, it feels a lot more cohesive than it did in the last game. Sure. I still don't really like the support duo.
Yeah, having both a Riki and a Disruptor, both who can be kind of hit and miss in the laning phase.
You just need more guaranteed damage or playmakers, which is what the Riki's going to be in a game like this, but pairing it with the Disruptor feels a little bit redundant, as they're both going to be silences rather than hard disables.
Right. Envy is actually keeping pace with this Darkseer. So he is sitting at 32 and 3 in the CS. So pretty much every single lane going well. They do have the level 3 Riki, but it doesn't seem like Darkseer is going to be the offlaner that can truly take advantage of a Riki gank. So instead they're going to go ahead and Ion Shell him and give him the surge. So they're going to try and chase down a hero. They're going to be able to catch Rose, slowing him down with the open wounds. Rose pops out the tombstone, but he just doesn't have enough HP to be able to survive through this. So it's not just a kill, it's a tombstone kill as well. An extra 125 gold for the Disruptor.
Yeah, and they really needed that. Being able to secure your safe lane back again.
Ooh, haste, that sucks. In Your Dream just spots out the haste, but SVG picks it up, and now he's going to be able to abuse In Your Dream for quite a lot of damage.
They need to do something to help him out right now, because his laning phase has been an absolute terror.
But they don't have those kind of really strong ganking supports, right? Like the Riki can do some things, but it's the Disruptor who really can't follow up that much.
I feel like what they should do right now is the Disruption, the Riki should at least just go to kill the Warlock when he makes aggressive moves like that.
Okay.
Because the Warlock's going to play very aggressive, thinking it's going to be a straight up 2-on-2. And you've got to punish that at the very least as Ohio. Again, in the last game we saw how crazy the Darkseer was able to go off. Doesn't look like he's going to go for the Helm of Dom build in his game though.
Just straight into the mech, which will allow them to have some decent fighting power, but I'm not sure if the extra sustain is really going to be the thing that makes the team fights work for Fnatic. I feel like it's going to be all on the initiation, whether or not the Riki Lifestealer can get their proper jump. Already the Lifestealer's having a hard time in his lane. Well, not too bad, it looks like. 39-4 is not too bad considering the constant pressure of them and dying in Beastmaster.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good job. They can't really kill him is a big thing, so he doesn't feel too afraid. It's more just a nuisance than anything, and it's allowing MSS to get more or less uncontested farm, which is the bigger problem here.
Yeah, Beastmaster, one of those offlaners who benefits a lot more from early farm than most others. It's his Necronomicon into a Blink Dagger. Much higher ceiling for a Beastmaster, getting those items where most other offlaners are just looking towards a Blink Dagger and they're mostly effective.
Yeah, and current net worth right now, both NP heroes out on top as Envy consistently just arrowing creeps to make sure that he does stay ahead of this Darkseer despite it again.
Bebby heads up to the top lane, gets the Iron Shell, TP's down to bottom. They're going to be able to get a successful gank on MSS, doesn't bother throwing out the ultimate. Another tombstone kill as well. Fnatic just making the same exact rotation every single time. Febby heads up to the top lane, he gets an Ion Shell surge, he TP's down to bottom lane, and they quickly force something.
Yeah, and this is the lane that you're going to be able to do it in. Last game, they weren't really able to secure that safe lane. Not nearly as much as they would have liked to. And now they're putting the pressure on the NP. As Rose, this isn't a Spirit Breaker. Can't really do too much. Has to just sit at this bottom lane.
He's holding on to his extra ability now. He's going 1-1-1. What do you think the preferred Undying build is right now? Because I've seen, some Rise Soul Rip, a lot of value there. And the classic build still being max out Tombstone first.
I think in a game like this, you do want the max out Tombstone. And then after that, the emphasis on the Soul Rip, of course, just because Decay, not really too efficient to grab.
A smoke and some damage coming out. They're going to wait. Eternal Envy, they're going to pull him back. They do have a Static Storm, so this time around, it felt like it took ages for them to bring the Disruptor online, but Yamate already level 6 by 9 minutes in part because of the little thing he was doing here in the jungle, pulling this camp, this Radiant camp above the tier 2.
Yeah, this is very well done by him, and I really like this. They're finally getting utility out of this Disruptor as MSS up at top. He's gotta notice that he's taking a lot of damage here.
Ohio, he tries to get the surge away and is running out. They do manage to turn around onto Febby, who's getting a lot of damage with that Ion Shell onto MSS. He's still gonna try and go for the kill. He does have his ult. He's got it. Febby gets the killing spree, and he's still gonna try and get away. They do not have a whole lot of counter vision to work with. There goes one dust. Doesn't have a leap up, so he is gonna fall here. But well worth the trade-off there, buying a lot of time for his team. The Tinker even pushing in mid quite heavily thanks to the heavy rotations of NP up to that top lane. And on top of everything else, made the good trade-off in his own life for Beastmaster.
He was taking so much damage from that Ion Shell. And starts to realize that there's a Riki there. They pop a sentry down, but he's still able to get the kill. Well worth it for him. And you need to do something like this, because we talked about it. In your dream, you either need to gank or you need to put pressure on the other side of the map to force NP to rotate awkwardly. You don't have stunning supports. They don't really have reliable disables, so for NP, the laning phase had to go a little bit better, because the ganking game, last game, it was there for them. This game, it is not.
Right. Pressure going down, internal MB. He's got the leap. It's going to be forced into it, Febby.
Febby is just being so annoying in this game.
Yeah. I mean, they seem to very clearly have practiced this combination of the Darkseer and the Riki. I'm not sure if I've seen too many times this very efficient use of the Ion Shell and TP into another lane like they've been doing.
Yeah, and Ohio does manage to go back for the Helm of the Dominator, by the way. In his quick buy, originally going to go for the mech, but decides against it.
Pick up on that MSS. They are just punishing this Beastmaster over and over again. And Mushi is looking to escape here. AY does have double damage, but he's going to be sent right back to the mid lane. And NP, they don't really have a whole lot of catch until they pick up this Blink Dagger on the Ursa. So a lot of these heroes very simply just going to walk themselves away. That also means it's a lot better disruptor game, right? It's hard to play around when these heroes are able to just close the distance and get in your face real quickly. But now the disruptor's abilities like Kinetic Field and Glimpse can feel a lot more powerful against NP with a little bit of lack of mobility.
And once again, Eternal NB just going to get chased around. Should notice quite quickly that this is happening as they're going to make the jump.
Cloud is slowing him down quite a bit. Ohio, they may just be able to run him down with the Tinker coming in with the boots of travel. They are going to pop the Moonlight Shadow. He just gets the March of the Machines out. They actually are going to throw the ult down. They're going to try and TP in more, but Eternal Envy is just not healthy enough to be able to follow up that roar with an arrow and a Starstorm. So a worthy rotation for Fnatic. Cost them very little, thanks to the boots of travel of the Tinker.
And I like this
line. Are they going to go for it? Yeah, they're going to pull him back. They already had that. Thunderstrike on him, going to be able to pull him back with the Glimpse. That AoE, Silence, and Miss percentage chance is going to do a lot for Febby, but now he has to deal with the Golem, so he pops the ultimate, buying himself some time. Hopes to be able to jump away, does have that jump at any moment's notice. AUI is going to be slowed down by the open wounds. They're going to try and just keep him at bay. Tinker shoving him back. Yamate's pursuing. He has the Glimpse, but unfortunately it's nighttime and was not able to get that vision out. Febby looking to just finish off this Tombstone. He's having some trouble though. He's getting quite low.
Not like this, Mushi. Don't take damage.
Fatal Bond. Oh, they got him. Just enough damage thanks to the zombies pursuing out. Febby was hoping to be able to finish off that Tombstone, but it just wasn't enough. A rather silly death there for Febby as he's been playing so excellently in the early game, but commits a bit too much that time.
Mushi just got the rage back up. He is going to get the kill on the Golem. And as I was saying, I do like this a lot more from Fnatic. They've got playmakers on their side. They've got heroes that can actually do something with this Disruptor. As Yamate in the game before, I know what he was thinking. He's just saying to himself, why am I playing this hero if we're not going to make any moves around the map?
Yeah. What do you think about these constant rotations from AUI? They seem to really want to put pressure on this lifestealer. First they did the aggro dual lane, and then they kind of got punished by the wrap around here from Febby, but now they're bringing AUI a number of times to this bottom lane to try and challenge the lifestealer.
They're just trying to create pressure any way they can. I think NP inherently is just a team that likes to put a lot of pressure. As we saw in the last game, they just don't exactly have the same heroes to do it, as the arrow not going to connect on either target.
Fnatic will just sit back behind their tier 1 tower and wait for the heroes to come to them.
At the top, Febby. He's going to notice that MSS is there. They should ping this out that the Riki's there up at top. As NP, even with 4 heroes in the southern side of the map, they just can't really do anything.
Yeah. And this is just creating more and more space for the Darkseer and the Tinker. 2 heroes that are rather stationary, don't really move out a whole lot from their lanes, but do get a large benefit from being able to sit in those lanes and get a higher amount of net worth. This Ohio's now thinking about, instead of going for the mech, he's gotten his quick buy a Blink Dagger after the Helmet Dominator. Looking to try and make more initiation happen. And of course, they do have a very sick combination with the Riki. Higher levels of Smokescreen combined with the Vacuum, as well as the Static Storm, are going to make things very difficult for NP when they try and be aggressive and push in these tier 1 towers.
Yeah, and NP going to go for the smoke. They're trying to make a play here. Might even walk into the Roche pit if they feel like they can. But again, they've got a Blink Dagger on this Ursa. They want to be able to utilize it. Heavy rotation into this bottom area.
Tinker kill would be perfect, but you could see that scan is kind of preemptively set up. They know a rotation is very likely to come out from NP, try and wrap and kill that Tinker.
Looks like they want to go bottom. They do have...
Might be able to catch him. Tinker goes up to the top lane. Looks like they may try and go on
Mushi,
bottom, but it's going to be bottom lane first. Mushi's going to be the target here as AUI jumps forward. The Rage is already going out. They try and make a TP TP out of here. He jumps into Yamate, and Yamate gets stopped by that TP. And now Mushi doesn't really have a good way out of here. The smoke screen goes down, buys a little bit of time. There goes the rock stunning on Mushi, just enough for them to be able to finish off that core. NP back away from the terror of marching machines, not able to pressure the objective, it seems, despite getting 2 very solid kills.
Yeah, and Disruptor just isn't a backpedaling hero. You want this hero always to be your setup. In a situation like that, he's never going to get a good ultimate off. Very good rotation from NP. They're going to transition this into a tower push, and I mean, their lineup is still very strong. We know how strong their Warlock plus Mirana combo is.
Ohio tanks an arrow. He's just been trying to take all this time to actually chip away at that tier 2 tower. Darkseer, not necessarily known for his physical damage, but he's trying to make it work anyway, even using Helmet Dominator to get that extra creep in for the pushing power.
Yeah. Only thing is he hasn't grabbed the Centaur. MSS was obsessed with that in that last game.
Yeah.
Didn't bother grabbing any other creep throughout the duration. He's got a Blink Dagger, and your highest net worth hero, you do want to see him put in some work.
Yeah, so now he can, with that Blink Dagger. Before, it's like Darkseer doesn't really feel like a very active hero, but with this Blink Dagger pickup, he can actually challenge NP in particular with this Disruptor. We're going to see a combination that we really didn't see much from Fnatic in Game 1. Some sort of Blink setup stun into a nice AoE silence. Cannon Ward very smartly being laid down behind the tier 1 tower by SVG, knowing that a lot of invis heroes like to be able to scout out behind tier 1s to be able to get some vision of rotations. But they're still going to lose their tier 2 at top lane, so Darkseer, he's definitely done his job. He's tried to, even if he can't oppress Mirana because of the way he sits back and that triple mango tactic that he had, he at least was able to take down all those early towers by 17 minutes.
Yes, and this is exactly what you want in your Darkseer. As the Saber at top. Tormentor just pushing in the lane. Envy does have an arrow available though, but that is a really fast creep.
Yeah. Look at that Satyr go. He's actually even going to pull in the next creep wave. He's still got 2 more shockwaves to be able to work with.
This is a real space creation hero.
It is indeed. Eternal Envy finally brings it down. Just enough. Bottom lane is not going to be the go. Rose, he's already going to get popped. They pulled AUI back into the static storm, but he quickly gets out and runs his way to Yamate. That's 1 kill. He's trapped inside the trees. Does find In Your Dream, but he's already out. And now AUI is stuck inside the trees. Again, some illusion of his own, really. AUI speeding along is going to be able to catch Ohio next, as NP actually managed to make that team fight work for them. Despite the early loss of their Undying, a big team fight support, they still managed to burrow through all of that thanks to AUI's natural tankiness on the Ursa.
It's very well done by AUI, just barreling forward, no fear. You gotta show your team that you're not afraid. And if you push forward like that, they're always gonna respond. As Mushi,
yeah, Mushi! Ooh, gets a bit greedy trying to farm up those neutrals. AUI almost claims a big kill in the carry and tempo controller of Fnatic. And he's about to really come online too. He's got the armlet. We get the full Desolator out from him on top of Febby, then NP are just naturally going to have to group up so much because of the easy pickoff power of that duo.
Would like to see Mushi hop into Febby though, and continue to create some plays. I feel like the problem in the last game that they heavily suffered from was they just weren't active enough on the map and they were too content to farm and let NP crash into them. Well, in a game like this, you have to have some counter aggression. You've got the heroes for it.
Jump forward. AUI trying to catch up the early kill on Yamate, but is unable to claim it before the glimpse sends him back. How do you tell though? Because it's I think a kind of a fine line as a lifestealer in how to choose when you actually gank and when you continue to farm. Because you don't want to sit inside some support for too long, and you want to make sure you still progress in your actual farm, but you also want to be able to put some pressure.
You just want quick hits. You gotta get 1 or 2 kills, immediately transition that as Febby.
So a quick jump in mid lane, the smoke screen goes out, they're going to try and stall up AUI, not letting him get out the range, but the static storm as well as the kinetic field misses. They pull him back into it last bit, and Febby will manage to get that kill. That's 1 down from NP already, plus the tier 1 tower. Not much for NP to actually rotate to, so these supports got to get the hell out of here. Rose trying to back himself away, fortunately cuts the corner just as Febby was about to make his jump forward on the blink strike. These other 2 heroes rather active, especially the Potom, but are choosing not to engage in these fights that Fnatic are forcing on NP. Instead, they're just taking the advantage of the side lane pushes.
Yeah, it's very hard for NP to set up just because if the Riki scouts you out, then you've wasted a lot of time. And in a game like this, is largely dependent on who gets the jump first, and it's so much easier for a Riki with a lifestealer inside of him to get the jump off every single time. And you've got so much good follow-up with the Disruptor ulti and the Tinker just kind of spamming from behind. If you start the fight off, then In Your Dream gets a free time.
So do you think in these situations, it's just very smart of NP that, okay, we've been jumped, don't even try. Like, once the initiation has already happened, if we're not in position to be able to counter it instantly, then, you know, let's just focus on split pushing and getting what we can out of the map.
Yeah, they are going to pop the smoke, though. Mushi would be a very good kill for them.
Absolutely, but it looks like instead they're going to focus on Roshan.
Oh, they're going to get caught out here. They've been scanned.
Yep. They have Lifestealer backs up a little bit, thinking maybe the gank would be coming his way, but they can actually stop this.
There is an Ursa, but it's
Disruptor
way too late.
Disruptor starts are just way too far away. Static Storm is on cooldown as well. That's probably something that NP were thinking about, knowing how important that ultimate was to be able to control NP if it's on cooldown. Unlikely Fnatic can contest a quick Roshan like that.
Yes, that's In Your Dream. Gonna push out this bottom wave. And they're gonna hop in once again. Taxi service from Febby. He's gonna look for a pick-off, but I do like this move, even with the Aegis available to NP. You want to try to get aggressive on the targets that are going to split up and farm. Oftentimes when a team has an Aegis, they're a little bit too wanton about things. Is at the top of the screen, gonna get popped.
Open wounds, that's going to be a perfect combination against Eternal Envy. He's locked in underneath the silence and will quickly go down. Fnatic have found that kill, but will they lose a hero in return? Here comes AY, ends up against Mushi. Look at a body block as best he can with Bebby, but he just can't quite do it. Smoke screen, open wounds, slowing down AUI. Now they'll get the surge away. Mushi will make a successful escape. NP unable to get any return fire.
And that's exactly what we're talking about. If you have an Aegis, oftentimes what ends up happening is the threat of it alone is meant to hold teams back and you're able to farm out a little bit more, but they did the correct thing there. They knew that NP would split up. They went for the aggressive play, and this is a much different look from Fnatic than they had in the last game. In the last game, it felt like they were very content to just slowly get whittled away. In a game like this, they're making aggressive playmaking maneuvers.
They seem to have made the adjustments to put on a really good fight against NP in this game too. Every single one of these aggressive maneuvers has the side benefit of also granting Tinker space. These heroes show themselves after the Miranda dies, and Your Dream feels positively comfortable to just aggressively push out this bottom lane.
Yeah, I think the timing now is now for NP. They've got the Warlock Golem up. You've got an Aegis on this Ursa. And
this would be big. Febby here to kill Febby, who has the Lifestealer inside of him. He already pops out, but he gets caught. MSS does manage to lock him down with the ultimate. They're going to drop the golems as well. Looking for the twofer. Nice back. If you can get away here, it's not quite enough. They can't keep the heroes inside the kinetic field. It looks like NP can keep marching forward. Speaking of March, MSS only dies to the March. He managed to keep just a sliver of HP. Wrapping around though, H-Line, pressing for more. Blinks forward, goes for Yamate. Looks to rip him apart just before the glimpse. Sends him back. 3 down. NP have found their timing to take control of this game against Fnatic.
And Fnatic got a little bit too cheeky there. They should have realized that NP, after that one initial maneuver up the top, was going to be prepared for that Riki. And it pays off for them as they're going to claim this mid tower.
You could see NP feel very comfortable with how strong they are, just going for more kills, you know, immediately turning towards that tier 1 and taking it as quick as they can. The problem is going to be these side lanes are always being pushed in by the Tinker, so they're going to have to make these sort of trade-offs where they smoke up or make some sort of aggressive maneuver, get a pick, turn it into a fast objective, but then naturally always have to back up to deal with their side lanes.
I would really like to see Fnatic start to utilize their Disruptor again. Their most successful moments was using that Static Storm, and you've got opportunities for it. You can just use the smoke. Fnatic there was just pressing their luck a little bit too hard. They were like, okay, the gank worked the first time, why not try it again? But when something works on you once in Dota, oftentimes a team will adjust and will say, okay, we have to 5 enemies to be a little bit more cognizant of that happening.
Right. So instead of, you were saying, instead of doing this kind of like 2-man gank thing with the Riki and the Lifestealer, you think that maybe they should do like a 4-man smoke gank rotation and just like bring overwhelming numbers just to try and change up the way that they're playing?
Your Tinker can always meet you halfway, and because you have a Tinker and a Dark tier, your side lanes are always going to be shoved in, so it's hard for NP to guess where you're going to be if they're playing correctly.
They can even bring the Helmet Dominator with them, right? So Tinker has easy access to things directly in the fight.
Yeah, and Yamate gonna set up some ward vision here, and NP gonna move in, reclaim their own jungle. Very good move from them. Clear out any sort of danger as Ohio looking for that Shiva's Guard next, and he's very close to it. This is the benefit of him farming so long.
That's going to give him a lot more kiting power against that Ursa.
Yes, that's exactly what you want to do against heroes like Ursa. As MSS does have that book 3, he's going to go for that Blink Dagger next, just so he can be able to catch the Tinker. It is a very easy kill for him.
Oh, well, I mean, you just nailed it. Right on the money, Blitz.
Go for 4.
They're going to go for the 4-man smoke, leading, of course, with the Riki and the Lifestealer combination.
Yeah, you know that it's not going to work again, the same tactic, so you might as well up the aggression a little bit.
They're going to have the Tinker pushing out bottom, perhaps. Maybe hoping that NP will make a rotation looking to catch that Tinker. And Fnatic will be in a position to be able to take the first strike. But NP seemed hesitant to move down to that bottom side of the map.
NV, don't go up this cliff.
He's going up the cliff. He's going to be confident. Down there in the vacuum. Fnatic going with the combination. Catches 2. They'll take both, and NP have no real response. Maybe they do. And he's just going to jump forward fearlessly. Go for Mushi, but now he's going to be caught by the laser, and he really just doesn't have it. He's going to be tied around. Goes for Yamate. Looks like he'll be able to get that 1 kill. MSS, he's focusing on Mushi. Almost got off the roar, but he doesn't get it. The smoke screen stops him, and Mushi turns around and claims his captured life. That's going to be 4 down from NP. Only Rose, the Undying, is going to be up as Fnatic. Very clearly a successful smoke gank by them, got the initiation they needed, and all of a sudden a team with Tinker that normally wouldn't be pushing high ground this early is able to do so.
Yeah, and nobody really wants to commit anything right now. You're so close to being alive anyways as
Rose flying
make the
the
jump here.
himself and trying to, is it going to be enough to heal him up, or is it? He's looking for the second shrine, but Mushi, he finally claims that kill. He bought a couple of seconds, but it still does not seem to be enough. NP has some long death timers still, as the tier 3 tower is going to be falling here, and Fnatic not wanting to be too greedy. Will just claim that 1 bounty and back themselves up. They are in a very comfortable position. No need to try and push for too much.
Yeah, and whatever happened in between the games, this looks like a new look Fnatic where they are making the smart maneuvers. They're not just farming and sitting back. That's what we criticized them for very heavily in the last game.
Yep.
But in this game, they're making all the aggressive maneuvers right now. They're finally getting Ohio involved in fights. And the combination of the Disruptor and the Darkseer has just been absolutely sick for them.
Oh, look at that. A Blink Dagger now. So they're going to have Blink, Vacuum, Static Storm, between just that duo. They also have the Blink Strike Infest combination with Bevy and Mushi, the Riki and Lifestealer. They actually have so much initiation against NP. And NP, we're already kind of talking about, their initiation was pretty lacking until they had the Blink Dagger on the Ursa. Still hasn't really been enough for them to keep control of the game. Yep. Now they have the Blink Dagger and the Beastmaster, but it's hard to see how those 2 single targets are going to be able to outdo Fnatic's AoE jump.
And right now is a big time for NP. They are about to get the BKB onto the Ursa. They've got the Blink Dagger now on this Beastmaster. They're not going to get a lot bigger than this. You could maybe wait for a BKB on NP for Eternal Envy, but I feel like that's a little bit too late. Once you grab the BKB on the Ursa, I think that's the timing.
Yeah, because his fresh Aghanim Scepter from the Tinker is just going to play havoc to your heroes, so you desperately need that magic immunity from your primary damage dealer.
Yeah, if In Your Dream plays this game properly, it's very difficult for him to die from this moment on. And even if you catch Tinker once or twice, you're not really able to do anything against it with the lineup that NP has, unless their Beastmaster is able to save that Necro Book. And right now, NP just kind of waiting. Trying to grab the BKB on the Ursa before they make any sort of maneuvers, and during this time period, Fnatic just shoving in all the lanes, playing very aggressively.
Yeah, the lovely part of having a hero like Tinker, right? His movement around the map allows them to be able to stay grouped up as 4 while still keeping these lanes relatively pushed. This Tinker has definitely become a huge problem, and I'm not sure, maybe I missed it, but I felt like NP never really tried to go for the, let's go for that smoke gank on Tinker and try and, shut him down. It seemed like they were more focused on dealing with the Lifestealer and the early game focus of Fnatic rather than this impending doom that is Tinker late game.
It's just hard because it's not easy to catch In Your Dream. He did play very defensively, and meanwhile at the top lane, Ohio was constantly shoving in the late waves, so it's hard for NP to make a maneuver. Especially if Fnatic are waiting behind that Tinker, it's very easy to transition that into a straight 4v5 fight.
Yeah. MSS is looking to pick up the gem. It seems necessary at this point. Fnatic, all they have to do is play a vision game and kind of pick and choose their engagements at the right times, because they always have better map control thanks to the Tinker, and they potentially have better initiation. So they can just read NP's movements. They'll have a fairly easy game. MSS, he makes that read and decides they need to be able to take away this vision of Fnatic and make the game a little bit more chaotic.
Yeah, NP, they do have the BKB. Smoke is ready as well on the Warlock in his backpack, but they might just want to wait for Envy's BKB at this point. But instead, they're grouped up. They are going to make a play. Nope. It's kind of gathered together, making sure that they're not going to run into a 5-on-5 fight.
Gem also being picked up by Yamate. And this Blink Dagger Disruptor is going to be so rough to play around. It's not just the initiation, right, but it's also the fact that he can catch you with these glimpses when you try and push out waves. So NP, it feels like they just almost always have to 5-man, just due to that natural pickoff that Fnatic have.
Yeah, it's the threat of it. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's why you don't see Mushi farming on the map. It's a very intelligent decision by him, where he's not really showing, making sure that him and both the Riki never really pushing out the waves. It's always going to be the Darkseer or the Tinker.
Yeah.
As a result, his GPM is going to be a little bit lower than it could potentially be. But at the same time, he's just been farming out Ancients, doing a very good job of being disciplined, which is something I feel like Fnatic heavily lacked in the last game. And once again, looks like they want to make a maneuver. They're together as 4 right now. One more shoving of the lane should be enough for them to start making maneuvers.
Roshan is going to be the place where these two teams clash, it seems. Roshan is coming up pretty late, but we do have the BKBs up for NP, so they've certainly hit a rather large peak. They've got BKB for the Mirana as well as the Ursa. They have the Golem ready to go. Beastmaster has hit his peak as well with the Blink Dagger and Necronomicon 3. Yep, so they really don't get too much stronger in this. If they can't win this Roshan fight, I'm not sure if they can actually ever win.
They are very strong right now, though. We talked about how the downside of having both a Riki and a Disruptor is those are both just silences. You can always just BKB, run through them. Those neither of those heroes are really going to do anything to you in a situation like that. You'd almost prefer support that has a hard disable, or just something that can open up.
Oh, Ohio. He makes the commitment there, blinks forward just to be able to get that Arcane Rune, which is obviously damn valuable for Darkseer in these longer cooldowns. We're going to have the Moonlight Shadow. And start off on Roshan begins. No way Fnatic, they actually smoke up, but they actually don't run close enough to Roshan.
Oh no!
Smoke to pop.
They might just whiff on this one.
Oh no.
This would be huge for them. Fnatic really wanted to take this fight, and instead it's going to be a free Aegis.
Yeah, they were looking for the wraparound and everything, but they're not going to get it. They still actually get the initiation. There goes the Fnatic Storm, and they actually instantly eliminate 2 supports out of NP. They're still going to be able to battle that out, but they're fighting up against a Shrine. And this is the target, but a nice bash comes out from Mushi. A little bit lucky, but he claims the 3rd kill on NP. So NP, they get the big win on Roshan, but they still lose out on the team fight immediately following, thanks to the crisp execution by Fnatic.
Yeah, and that's the counter, is if both the cores have BKBs, then just kill everything else around them.
Yeah.
And that makes it nearly impossible for them to fight as NB battling up at top in your dream. Not going to get hit by that arrow, and NB going to get forced back. Tower mid going to go down. Ohio pushing forward, but doesn't really look like they want to try attempting the high ground.
So if you're NP though, right, you cannot look at that last team fight and be discouraged. You kind of still have to be aggressive. You've got the Aegis in your hands, you've still got those BKBs. Even if the last fight was pretty disastrous, you still need to just go out there and force something against Fnatic.
What that teaches NP more than anything is that they've got to be the aggressors, so that your supports can be in the backline, setting up abilities. If they get jumped on by the Static Storm, you lose 2 heroes like that. Even with these BKBs and this Aegis, you're not going to win that fight.
Bevy almost getting caught here, but Gem
supporting
is
Cat
not on your side. Speaking of Gem, they actually lost it, didn't they?
Yes.
That's rough.
They're just continuing to farm out inside the base right now. They've got 1 already. No need for 2. Both teams heavily rely on the gem.
Okay, so you need to be aggressive as NP, but how do you actually set that up? Because you can't just like, okay, we're all back up, let's go smoke and run out there. It's going to be pretty obvious with these lanes pushed in. So what kind of movement do you need to actually do as NP in order to set up an aggressive maneuver in the next 2 or 3 minutes?
I think NV needs to grab travels. Then he's going to shove out the side lanes really far and meet his team with the Hawk.
Okay.
That's the only reasonable way to do it right now, because otherwise what ends up happening is that NV pushes in 1 wave, then he hides, then Ohio sends an IO to creep up there, and then Fnatic knows what's going on right now. That's usually the dance that you have to play, and that's exactly what he goes for. He has the boots of travel.
The Night Shadow. Lanes are reasonably pushed out.
Bebby, though, sitting on top of this high ground.
things rather rough. They have the Centaur coming forward
They
to...
did scan though, they know they're here.
And they start immediately blinking themselves back. They do not want to take this fight. They're going to go for a blind arrow. Not going to happen, though.
Yeah, the angle just isn't there, and I think NP has to get out of here now.
Very dangerous. Fighting around that shrine, particularly against the Tinker. Now has himself a Bloodstone, so even if they do manage to get a successful pick on the Tinker, they can't think that they're going to be able to immediately go for objectives. That first death timer is going to be quite low.
MSS is trying to find it, but he's going to guess
now,
correctly.
but he's not going to be able to get the Primal Roar. Not in time.
He's going to shove out this bottom lane, and at this point the game's getting really frustrating as In Your Dream now going to show himself up at top, and B going to go for the arrow.
It is going to land. In Your Dream is going to be caught here. Not going to have the blink available to him. Gets the laser off, though. It's going to be a little though. Eternal Envy's going to have to pop his BKB in order to keep the damage on In Your Dream, stopping him from blinking out, and they do get the pick off. Bringing down those Bloodstone charges, but only an 18-second death timer for the Tinker. He's going to be right back.
Yeah, trying to protect your shrine at bottom. NP going to start making their way down. Fnatic, they've almost got their Tinker up. They could take this fight. They know there's no Roar available.
Maybe they think they can catch NP off guard with some quick aggression after a pickoff like that, but it seems like NP are not going to leave too many heroes around the game. Might actually run into In Your Dream. This is a good opportunity to be able to take him down. They've already got the Tinker dead, but the rest of the NP is going to be a little bit lacking. Now they get the Golem down. Rose was the target, but he's still keeping himself alive. Mushi is now already down to half health. Gets backed up now. Here comes the Fnatic Sword. Vacuum combination. A big play coming out from Fnatic. Now they turn the fight, and maybe the Ursa is still going out, but he's going to get kited around, going for Ohio, trying to catch him out. AUI, a sliver of HP that he's working off the urn. He's finally going to take him out with the Thunder Strike. Bye-bye Aegis and P. They look to be able to catch a little bit more. Yamate is going to be chased out here. AUI is hoping to be able to catch him. That one zombie is going to be enough. Eternal Envy. Oh, blink back, TP out. They're not going to catch him. Yamate actually gets away. What a beautiful combination there from Fnatic once again with quick vacuum static storm. Turns what would have been a really nasty fight due to the Tinker being immediately gone.
Yeah, that was still fantastic though from NP. This Ursa,
Yeah.
playing so well. AUI understands as well perfectly. It's to create as much chaos as possible with that Aegis.
I mean, with the Tinker gone immediately, it felt like that was a fight that NP should have just rolled over Fnatic if it wasn't for that cleanly executed combination.
Yes, that was more of salvaging that fight though,
Yeah.
rather than being able to outright win it. Once you lose heroes like that, we talked about it, if you lose 2 heroes, no matter how strong you are, you're not going to be able to win that fight. And NP finally get the jump off that they need. We're rapidly starting to see whoever starts to get the starts the fight is oftentimes the one winning it, especially in a game like this.
If you're NP, you kind of keep up the aggression, right? You're in a good spot. These heroes from Fnatic are very unlikely to be working off of any buyback gold. This could be a game that you could start snowballing.
I think they do need another Aegis though before they make another move.
Okay.
And that's why Fnatic are playing very aggressively here. They know that the Rock is still on cooldown.
Oh, that's true. That Rock. That was a big part of that engagement as well. As
Ohio's got a refresh orb now too. They really wanted to take this fight.
Jump forward, looking for that glimpse. Bevy just trying to get the vision out, but SMG gets the Glimmer Cape. That will be enough for him to slide away from the glimpse attempt.
Yeah, Tombstone and Necrobooks are dropped. NP wanted to turn this into something.
Moonlight Shadow and turned right back around. They're going to be heading into a nasty traffic jam. Marching machines all over the place in this lane. Arrow goes out, nails that Frost Ogre, but seems like Fnatic, very smartly positioned, are going to try and take this high ground. If the fight comes to them, they at least want that positional advantage, but NP are not going to run in. They're going to run around, locking... they're kind of locking Fnatic from being able to head back to their base, but they give up on it, it looks like.
That's a very dangerous fight. You have no vision there.
Yeah.
It's not easy. What I think Fnatic were doing there, where they were trying to avoid any potential board vision or any of the hops, so they could get out in the bottom half of the map. That was very good by them. Is Fnatic though, unfortunately, are going to miss their timing window as the Rock is now back off cooldown.
But with Roshan approaching maybe so soon, NP may just want to wait that one out. Potential spawn time starting in just 1 minute.
You absolutely cannot give up the Aegis and Cheese to NP right now. The Ursa's doing too much work with it. He's got the Abyssal Blade now too, so he's got that guaranteed lockdown. He can burst down the Tinker immediately, and with that Aegis, it's hard to just punish him right after. He is so tanky.
What about our Tinker though? Why didn't he go for something like the Ghost Scepter Ethereal Blade build?
I think the Bloodstone just allows him to push out a little bit more aggressively.
And that did seem to be kind of the game plan for Fnatic. That was in the game, and they felt pretty good just to be able to run around as 4, and Tinker would always split push, and they could just play pretty farm efficient because NP naturally had the 5-man all the time.
The downside right now, though, is In Your Dream just has not had a great game. He's 1-4-6. Probably hasn't dealt a lot of hero damage either. Despite being their highest net worth, it might not be reflected in the damages. NP gonna go for another maneuver. They've got the rock up. Maybe if they can get one pick off before the Roshan, they can immediately transition into it.
Yeah.
Svevi might just scout inside.
It's going to be a short Roshan spawner this time around. 30 seconds left until the big boy's up. They won't be able to find the pick off that NP was looking for, but at least this engagement is going to happen before what I think is going to be a pretty important pickup. Yamate, he had a rough time as Disruptor last game. This time around, he's been playing like a boss, and he's going to look so much better if he can actually complete this Aghanim Scepter, because now that AoE silencer you're talking about, they just said, okay, we'll just, go ahead and use BKBs against it all, it's good. That is immediately going to be taken away from them with a hard break.
And now they're going to sit behind this Tinker. Maybe guessing the fact that the Beastmaster's going to come. Look at In Your Dream, the way that he's postured forward, this should immediately tip off NP. Because he's not blinking in the trees.
Yeah, every single time. He's been deep in trees, marching machines. He hasn't been in the lane lasering like that, so.
Arrow's going to fly, not going to connect whatsoever. It's now Fnatic not really liking the look of things here, as Ohio still has that vested lifestealer. But now he's going to pop up, realizes this just is not worth his time.
All about the positioning game for Roshan. If Tinker can actually get that bottom lane pushed in, that will open up some space for some heroes from NP to the bottom lane. But we still have that all-important Boots of Travel from Eternal Envy that has allowed them to be able to counter the Tinker's movement quite a bit.
Disruptor's talent tree is so random. There's 200 health or 30 respawn time, and the last one is 30 magic resistance or +4 Thunderstrike hit.
Yeah, the 4th Thunderstrike hit.
AUI jumping in, but Ohio immediately out. Very good reaction time as they were trying to set up for this Roshan area, and Fnatic, they should be tipped off. You cannot afford to give them a 3rd Roshan. It is just making your life a lot harder than it has to be.
Yeah, despite the Tinker pushing in that bottom lane, NP did not feel comfortable just rushing it.
They are right on top of a ward.
Yes, they are. And that'll be presumably one of their wards that gets countered next minute or 2.
And now there's a gem flying out. We talked about how important it was for both teams to have one. You've got Mirana ultimate on one side, the Riki on the other.
It feels good, I think, for Fnatic to stall. They've got Scythe coming in pretty soon for the Tinker, this Aghanim's upgrade for the Disruptor, as well as his level 3 build. Even Ohio has a good amount of gold, nowhere close to getting Scythe soon. Potentially because he wants to hold on to buyback, but it seems like we've got some pretty integral teamfight items that can be built in the next 2 or 3 minutes if Fnatic can just stall this Roshan attempt, but NP may just try and force it with like a solo Ursa in the pit. Yeah, the rest of the team outside.
I mean, especially with the Disruptor Axe coming online as well, it is very dangerous for them as Yamate. He's going to have it now.
Yeah.
This is going to be the big pickup for them, and NP might not expect this. As Fnatic, they can posture around that Roshan pit very safely.
This is a potentially game-ending team fight play. They get the right kind of vacuum, Static Storm, Axe combination.
I'm hoping for it. I'd like your voice to go hoarse.
18-16. 44 minutes in, 3rd Roshan attempt. This is determined whether or not NP is going to get closed out in this game 2 and forced to go into a game 3 if they have the shot at making the comeback against the Tinker in the late game.
He now has the Hex available to him, very farmed. NP, the big item for me is still going to be that Disruptor ultimate with that Aghanim Scepter.
So many of these heroes have no buyback here.
They've got the high ground
wrap around, but the high ground is already sitting there. Rhodes is immediately going to pop out the tombstone. The initiation is a bit of a whip. They already have Ursa trying to challenge heroes on the side. They're going to pop out now, but that is not an initiation they wanted. And Mushi is immediately going to be roared up as well as to go and jump off. Mushi's so far down. They're actually going to be losing Mushi in a second here, and they're going to look for more. Noctake is caught. That's going to be Ursa cleaning up the extra kill. He turns and collects Mushi's death as well. That's going to be 3 down from Fnatic, and they cannot bear to lose this Tinker. He does not have buyback, so NP cleanly taking 3. and can now try and force a buyback if they want to, pushing through the mid lane and going for the tier 2.
That was way too much hesitation shown by Fnatic. They weren't really sure what angle they were going to take.
Yeah.
The Darkseer jumps in, but the Disruptor is so far down to the south. AY just pinpoint isolates him. They now know that the Disruptor has the Aghanim Scepter, and now they're going to grab the third Roshan of the game.
Aegis and Cheese. You said AY was doing so much work with his extra life earlier. He is fully maxed out at this point with that 6th slot being taken by the Aegis. He's got Abyssal, Desolator, BKB. He rips heroes apart. But again, the initiation is going to be the most key part here. Fnatic actually get the right kind of jump, not just with the Ags, but even now the Scythe of Vice. Ursa could find himself well controlled and unable to do much, even with 2 lives.
Yeah. I still feel like, I mean, with the Aegis, if you win,
Oh, nice play. They're going to be able to pop that link and immediately get the Scythe of Vice onto Eternal Envy. Half a second, though, is all he needs to be able to get off the BKB. And actually turns around, trying to go for Ohio here. Will manage to dodge that arrow, and Ohio is going to fall in by Eternal Envy. Very nicely played.
Envy with the no fear.
Yeah, he absolutely turned around. He's like, all right, Tinker's already kind of blown his load. He's going to have to back up. I'll just take the free kill on Ohio.
Yeah, that was very sloppy from Fnatic, as now they're starting to show some signs cracking as NP doing a very good job around the map, and that is a gift. It's not often that you just see straight up 1v1 fights like that where a hero is going to go down that easily. As Envy now has a Mjolnir, does do a hefty amount of damage, and Fnatic are just being beaten back now.
Do you think that extra lane push is that important? Do you think the static charge is pretty strong? Why this Mjolnir over, say, the MKB?
I think it's both. The MKB is okay, but with this Maelstrom, you can push out the lane so quickly. Yeah. It's a very good damage kill for Mirana as well, who does lack the attack speed. Kind of a very good in-between item is now NP gonna take out that tier 1 tower top and most likely keep going.
I mean, Fnatic, they once held a 15,000 gold lead, but that is all being taken away, as now even Bebby potentially going to be caught. They get a force down forward, pops his ultimate, he does have to blink up, so he should be able to get away. But NP, all those towers up, they were up for so long because of the split pushing power of the Tinker, never allowing NP to really get on the offensive, never really controlling this game. But it's going to pay big dividends now as they collect all those tower bounties and rack up what could be a pretty decent net worth lead after this is all said and done.
Yeah, and the biggest thing about giving up that Aegis is it resets everything for Fnatic. They're afraid to take these fights, so they pretty much just have to wait out the 5 minutes. And it allows NP to just continue to get aggressive on the map as they're finally knocking down some towers against a Tinker. Mid lane gonna get shoved in. Bebby not spotted there. He's gonna blink his way up. Full assault Curus.
What are your thoughts? Level 25 is being held by AY. Okay, there it goes. He goes for the 14 stats over the 10 Fury Swipes damage. Feels like he's got enough damage, right?
Yeah, this is a 3100 HP Ursa. Even if you take him down the first time, it's going to cost you so much. We talked about how Fnatic doesn't really have that lockdown. Imagine you drop your Disruptor ultimate off of him. Then you'd have to blow everything. You'd have to waste the rage of the Lysealer, and you've got to do it all over again. It's very hard for them to lock him down a second time.
So what is the game plan for Fnatic in these team fights? Is it just go for the supporting cast like we talked about earlier with the vacuum static storm combination and just try and kite the Ursa as best as possible?
Yes, it is absolutely imperative that they blow up the Warlock before anything. The throws matters a lot less, but in a game like this, the counter initiation that SVG can provide and the Fatal Bonds, that's a significant amount of damage.
A Lincoln's for AUI has been built. He'll swap that in after his Aegis goes down from his backpack. So that'll make things a lot harder for Fnatic when it comes to kiting that hero.
And man, this is going to be if they lose this game, it'll be a heartbreaking one. Just because of the type of lead that they had, they were playing so aggressively, and now it feels like they're a little bit lost.
Yeah, the performance by Fnatic in the first 20 minutes of this game, Game 2 and Game 1, they were like night and day. But now Fnatic do seem to be stalling out. They're trying to set up for this initiation, but it's just Ursa on the front lines. We said that is not the hero we're going to go. Looks like they may just have to give up this tier 2 smoke screen, trying to stall him out. The harassment of the heat-seeking missiles, bringing AY a little bit lower.
Bebby gonna posture forward, but Anyway, just not afraid. He's got his team backing him up. He still has the Aegises. He's going to get hexed, but this is largely just
Arrow.
space maneuver. Not going to happen.
They are going to try and chase away some of these Fnatic heroes that were sitting on the side, looking for that initiation. They finally do get the tier 2. And that'll start opening things up. Eternal Envy really trying for this one. They do have the lifesteal on the side. He immediately pops out, gets the Abyssal Blade onto Eternal Envy, but he does manage to lock the way. Now the Abyssal Blade plus a French Roar lockdown. That's going to be an easy kill onto the lifesteal. The laser draws things out a little bit, but they do manage to rock the rock, actually stalling up some of the retreat of the heroes on Fnatic. They pop the shrine, but looks like they're going to be forced into a buyback on their lifesteal.
They should be okay. They still have this Axe. You don't really want to go high ground against them. It's still going to be incredibly frustrating, but that is still a heavy loss losing Mushi in a situation like that, where you weren't gaining anything either. It's not like he got caught in a position where he's pushing out a lane. It's more they just got a free kill.
So you think just take the shrines and what, wait for Roshan number 4?
I don't know if you necessarily have to wait for Roshan number 4. You're going to gain hefty gold leads as a result of taking down the shrines, getting all these tier 2 towers out.
Yeah.
They're in a much better spot. If they were winning fights 15k behind, imagine them getting that kind of lead back.
Yeah. How much of it do you think is execution problems? Because we really have not seen that combination from Fnatic. Of course, NP had been playing around it a little bit more, but Fnatic seemed to be struggling to find the right kind of initiations here.
It just felt like they got a little bit flustered once or twice in a row. Obviously, that mid engagement where if they had just gone all the way around, they would have been able to take the high ground position. And you always want to strike going downwards, so that you know it's coming, you know how to set up an initiation. But when they're smoke broke, it felt like they just were completely lost. They were completely surrounded. They didn't really know if they were going to engage or run. Half the team thought they were going to run, half the team thought they were going to engage. And that's the sign of a good team where you're not really on the same page right there.
Eternal Envy's rocking a Tesla gun here. Every single time he pops that leap and he gets the 100 plus 100 attack speed.
He has moon charge too.
Yeah, he's actually outputting a pretty high amount of damage per second.
But why not the triple arrow? It's so cool.
Did you have a problem with that one in your watching your DC game?
I mean, it was just funny more than anything.
Yeah.
You know that Weeha's gonna go for the triple arrow. He was a boss with it though. He did get him a few times. I mean, 100 attack speed.
The Hawk boots a travel play here at the top lane. AY is trying to set up. See if they can surprise Fnatic from the trees. Hawk is spotting out some of these heroes already. They're going to jump forward, immediately jump on a Yamate. That is the big team fight controller, and they've already got him down. That means Fnatic have to go full retreat now. Still a BKB charge blown. 70 seconds for the Disruptor, but the lanes are rather pushed out. It doesn't look like NP is going to be able to take too much advantage of that death time.
It's been like 10 minutes or so, maybe even a little bit longer since he's had that axe on the Disruptor. And we talked about the downside of this hero. If you can't set up fights, it feels so underwhelming because you just get jumped on and your kit is not good at surviving. Like you glimpse people back, but you're already dead in that time. You drop that ultimate, you don't have a ring, so they can just kind of run you down anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
And so this hero is purely meant for offensive reasons.
Now NP, so quick to move around the map. Already pushing into the bottom lane with their 5-man after they executed that gank top lane.
Yeah, gonna fire off the arrow. Not nearly long enough as they're gonna clear out this jungle, and they're just utilizing the time very well. They understand that they no longer need the Aegis to be able to just straight up clean up fights. Fnatic are getting more and more crowd inside their base, and that's gonna make this next Aegis fight even more apparent.
So if the initiation is everything, maybe Ohio's next item is pretty important. He's still working on that site device, but he is actually pretty close to it. If you disregard buyback.
So NP just clearing out their lanes. Now they're most definitely waiting for the next Aegis. NV is 6 slotted. Could feasibly, I'm not really sure what you replace at this point. Most likely the Blink Dagger. If you're really going to go for a 6th item, you can just swap it around with your backpack as well. They're going to make an aggressive maneuver forward. Roshan now enters the battlefield once again.
Fnatic already positioned on their side of the cliff. Just trying to get vision down. See if NP are going to try and attempt that early Roshan.
wards are going to get spotted out by MSS.
But NP, they're in no rush, right?
Yes, they are not, but Fnatic definitely is.
They've definitely proved that they can take this late game. Seen them fight back against that 15,000 gold lead. Now that they are the ones holding the gold lead, they can just wait for a mistake by Fnatic.
Yeah. Right now, it just feels like the Tinker's not doing enough in a lot of these engagements because his team goes down so fast. Then he's in a position where he's just like, am I really supposed to enter this fight? More than enough burst damage for NP to immediately turn the fights into 3v5s, which is why it's so important for Fnatic to get the jump off with their Disruptor. Otherwise, you're in a position where you're using all your spells defensively and you're getting run over.
Barreling down that top lane. This will help them get a bit better control of that Roshan pit area.
Yeah, that's
keeping
exactly
Fnatic off of that cliff area, right?
If they know that that top lane is pushed in, they feel pretty comfortable about this, but somebody has to deal with this mid lane, or they might even just barrel in for this Roshan, assuming that it's more important. And that is exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, they can go ahead and trade a they're actually not going to lose any tier 3 power damage. NP still going to try and stay grouped up here. They don't want to risk what happened last time. 8 lines. Fnatic's got the high ground, but they are going to go for the Fnatic. Static through a combination, but it's only on an Ursa. He does have the combination, but he can't quite get the cheese off. Maybe he'll die to this damage over time. The jump forward, the Riki, not quite enough. Now the golem gets dropped, and the turnaround happens. The rest of NP come forward. Mushi battling up against Eternal Envy. He has the MKB, but it's just not enough against those 2 heroes plus the golems. He gets beaten down to a pulp. Only the 3 heroes of Fnatic will stay alive. All of NP a bit low, but man, if they had just killed that Ursa, he didn't have the cheese, he didn't have the Aegis, he was so low. The Riki even jumping forward, trying to finish him off with that last bit of an ult. They're gonna fight Heavy here too. Heavy's trying to jump forwards, doesn't himself outside of the range of the gem. Looks like.
Okay, did you see how fast those golems are attacking with the Necrobook aura, the Beastmaster aura, 100?
God.
That thing was just clubbing away at Mushi.
Yeah, poor Mushi didn't know what the hell was happening to him.
I have never seen a Warlock Golem attack that fast. So they are shoving in all the lanes. Tinker does make going for the high ground annoying, but man, they have to be so satisfied with how the fights have gone. NP. That Ursa has 3,400 HP. Even with everything that they dropped on him, he was still able to get out of there.
Yeah. To travel, TPing on MSS, looking for a jump here in the top lane, not going to find anything. NP, despite being against the Tinker, thanks to that last team fight, the death timers that we're still waiting on from Fnatic, they're able to get complete control of this map, all the way to pushing in. This is the beginning of the end, potentially, for Fnatic as NP start closing in on objectives. They're going to lead things off and rely on the front lines here. Oh, actually jump forward, actually gets brought back because Lotus Orb and Blink Strike, they're going to be able to get the static storm combination on top of the 2 cores. That is a nasty death. Fnatic, they're going to have to try and somehow kill Eternal Envy. He's going to pop the BKB, but they get the Abyssal Flame. Primal Roar coming out, not quite in time. A Decisive Vice stomps MSS, but they still manage to get Eternal Envy back. NP will start the retreat, as they do not want to use that buyback on the Ursa. First time that initiation has gone south for NP, and that was all off the weird Blink Strike Lotus Orb combination.
I mean, that was just kind of absurd here. The Ursa doesn't really have too much survivability, just a 6-second BKB. Gets the Disruptor ultimate dropped in front of him, and NP tried towing the line, seeing if they could go high ground, despite having the Tinker alive on the enemy team, and that is emphatic no.
I almost got him. The surge run forward. MSS doesn't have to blink up in time. They're going to be dropping the gem here. Fnatic. They've been dropping the ball here for so long, of over 30,000 gold swing in the last 15 minutes, but now, when things seem their darkest, Fnatic, they managed to actually execute.
And that is a dead Beastmaster for 80 seconds and a dead Ursa for 30. You could feasibly force buyback here and Fnatic now have a win condition. This is incredible. As Febby jumps forward, he knows that the gem was just recently lost.
Yeah, he with these 2 heroes still down, he
This
can
is so much information for him now too.
Yeah, they can maybe get some sort of jump, find a quick pick, force the buybacks, or maybe we're just going to be seeing these racks die.
That is still 50 seconds dead on the Beastmaster, not really willing to commit that buyback quite yet, but he is dead. And now it's going to go down
But the mana max is coming on. Is it going to be worth the action? Let's get the arrow onto Femi. Countervision finally laid down to get the counterward in place, and the gem is returned to NP.
Still, first racks of the game taken by Fnatic, and 5 minutes ago I would have told you you were crazy if you predicted that.
But 30 minutes ago.
Oh, in your dream, he's got to get out of here.
Arch of the Machine.
Got to continue to make his way up.
He is going to be able to get out. It looks like the Blink Dagger's just not coming up.
And Fnatic, all of a sudden, they've breathed new life into this game on the heels of NP getting a little bit too cheeky, trying to walk up high ground against a Tinker and a Disruptor.
The Tinker, he's reaching full micro status now. He's got the Agnums as well as the full out Dagon 5. So when it comes to defending on the high ground, he's got that bouncing laser, but when it comes to actually executing heroes and finding those pickoffs, they've got that heavy damage burst available.
Man, I cannot believe the twists and turns this game has taken.
It's been a rough one for both teams. What's the game plan here? Wait for Roshan number 5? Is that what it's all about? These extra lives?
I don't even think that's the determining factor.
Yeah.
It's NP trying to force the waves in one more time. But the problem is, the annoying part is, you're playing against a Tinker and a Darkseer, and you've got to deal with the creeps at bottom that are going to constantly be shoved in due to the fact that you've lost racks.
Eternal Envy is refusing to go that MKB. He's like, BKB is good enough for me. He's got a Satanic now. Oh, MSS, he's in the position to try and catch this Tinker, but he's just not quite gonna get there. They're trying to lay these traps out, but In Your Dream is just one step ahead of them, it seems.
Yeah, he's done a very good job of playing this survival game now, which is exactly what you want out of the Tinker. He hasn't really been caught out in the past 20 minutes. He had 4 deaths early on, and since then, he's just been a thorn in NP's side. They're desperately trying to lock him down, because they know that's the only way that they can go for the high ground.
AY, careful. We've got Febby pushing himself pretty far forward. Actually, Moonlight Shadow, and they're going to try and poke outside of their base here.
Yeah, they want to take a fight outside of their base if they can. Going high ground has always been a problem against a Tinker, but maybe if you can catch them outside of their base, you can make a quick maneuver, start pushing down the lanes. Instead, everything's just going to reset as Fnatic are now the ones that have taken over the map. Things have just completely been mirrored in this game.
Tinker is not even needed for this bottom lane most of the time, thanks to that full lane being taken. Super Creeps will keep that constant pressure in NP. They already had a hard time keeping these lanes pushed out. They did okay with the Boots of Travels, but it's looking very grim. Looks like our next choice from the Ursa is going to be going for that later game Orchid into the out here Blitz.
Bloodthorn.
Bloodthorn thing.
I got you, dude.
That would be an excellent pickup against this Tinker. He doesn't have BKB.
Yes.
Doesn't have even the Ghost Scepter to be able to defend himself against the jump. So
Still, he sits so far behind
yeah,
all the engagements that I think it matters a little bit less, but Bloodthorn as a late game item is absolutely dangerous.
That huge damage increase. We've seen plenty of people forsake NKB for the Bloodthorn just because of its damage output.
Once again, lanes are just going to be shoved in by this Tinker. This is generally what you expect in a Tinker game, and it is even more annoying because this bottom lane is not something that they can just push out a little bit. The creeps will always force it back in because they're stronger. NP, in a tactical game where they're just trying not to get picked off, Fnatic getting that map control back.
Is there any other game plan here for Fnatic than just pushing in the waves and waiting for some sort of positional error that allows the Riki Lifestealer to be able to get a kill, or can they actually start getting a bit of chip damage?
I mean, they're just looking for opportunities to grab 1 or 2 heroes, and NP, there's no way that they're going to stand for this. Nobody likes just being shoved into their base and bullied, and as a result...
Especially with Roshan coming up too in the next 35 seconds.
Yes, as, again, this bottom lane is so miserable for them. If Fnatic know that nobody's defending this bottom area, this is their danger sign. I think they should just immediately start getting out. They might even suspect a Roshan play as NP playing the long con has gone all the way around the map.
The smoke is about to wear out.
They're gonna get the high ground too. They might predict that Fnatic think they're gonna go for the Roshan.
Yeah, with this gem already set up by the Undying, they can actually see
Bevy
coming in.
Walk up
this
here.
is going to be so bad. He's moving forward. Does manage to get off the ultimate. That's going to be able to
BKB's
buy him
gonna
some
pop
time for the information. He pops his sword staff and blinks himself away, and there is no jump from... Oh no! It's all going to go wrong
you
now.
gotta get out of here now.
Ohio, he starts streaming himself forward. They do actually manage to get the pop out here. Rose's going to be the first target. NP, he ends up getting dropped in your dream. He's looking for more. Eternal Envy's heading to the north side. They start making their way back to the base, and it looks like Fnatic will manage to get that Aegis, but if NP had just found some sort of initiation onto that Riki as he started coming up the cliff, they could have taken 2 hero kills there.
Bevy just playing out of his mind. He was so fast with that.
Yeah.
Able to scout out information. It forced NP to scatter. The BKB was wasted at the Ursa. At that point, they had to beat a fast retreat. And for the first time in this game, Fnatic going to get a Roshan of their own. This is going to be huge for them.
This may actually open up. Have you ever seen in a pro game a refresher Aghanim disrupt?
No. Actually, I have.
Because that's what we're talking about right now.
I saw a replay of it once. Myself casting it? No. I mean, we're in a position again where Yamato he had sick farm, and then he ended up being useless. It can quickly go back to that. So Fnatic has to be disciplined. This is the name of the game here. NP, they lost focus for a quick second, and now they're in a position where Fnatic can start making their way up as Mushi has that Aegis available to him.
If NP are all holed up inside their base, right, and they're stopping these waves before they get to the tower. Oh, arrow immediately onto Mushi. Mushi just still charges forward, pops a rage, gets some damage onto that tower. He's gonna wait some time, but the rage is about to wear up, and that's just NP makes the jump forward. They get the stun, and there goes the Aegis. A nice clean initiation by Disruptor, costing them very little.
They're waiting for Yamato right now.
Slowed down. He has a rage coming up, and it looks like they think that rage is going to be enough. They don't need to make the initiation. They will manage to make an escape, but they lost that Aegis. And that was kind of the clean jump onto the tier 3 tower. That Aegis, that extra life is what allowed him to be able to potentially push into high ground. Now Fnatic are going to have to play a whole lot more scared. And they go for that push.
I think they should just go for it again. They know that the Beastmaster doesn't have a refresher. They've got enough of a window where they can start hitting it again, and that's exactly what they're going to go for right now.
They've got only 20 seconds to work with until that Primal Roar is up. The Abyssal Blade is already back up for AUI.
Yeah, they're just going to go back. Although Yamato, he does have that double ulti.
Maybe the fake back. They're going to smoke, and then I think they're going to wrap through bottom.
Yes.
See if they can get some sort of weird surprise initiation onto NP. MSF is actually just out a bit too far. He's going to be caught here. Abyssal Blade locked down. An easy kill. BKB running himself away. Maybe it's not so easy to turn around, play the war onto Mushi, and they do jump forward. A nice little death trying to kite around AUI during this BKB timer. They get Mushi to safety. And Yamate, they having a hard time. They're going to pop their shrines here just to make sure they're still ready to fight. Yamate, he makes a jump forward, actually failing to get the glimpse there. If the Lincoln Spear managed to block that one, they're going to be able to catch Yamate. Lock him down. He falls. Now Bevy's going to drop as well. This will stream forward, looking for extra kills. Ohio's going to be target here. Eternal Envy, if he can hit this arrow, it'll be a big extra kill, and he locks it down.
What is going on is Fnatic. They finally beat their way back into this game. Yamate, who was patient almost to a fault, and then blinks in aggressively, gets caught out, unable to cast either ultimate. We talked about when he first got the Aghanim Scepter, he wasn't able to do anything with it, and now he's in a position where he has the Refresher Orb, doesn't have buyback, and he might have just cost his team dearly here.
One buyback already being used by the Darkseer. But NP, they're going to try and force...
Look how fast
stack those golems. They're going insane. The Glyph is going to be able to buy them some time,
but that's a level 25 Warlock.
Yeah. Fortunately, the golems are about to be dropped here. 5 seconds. Mushi's going to try and battle them here, but the rage's about to wear off. There goes the Abyssal Blade. Can he actually get the combos done? There goes the Primal Roar, and Mushi is down. The vacuum does very little. They get the wall out, but Fnatic, they just don't really get a grasp on anything. Eternal Envy, maybe he's the target, but they don't actually manage to lock him down. NP, they got what they wanted out of that. They did not get a Rax, but they got something much more important. For the next 5 minutes, this Lifestealer, he's going to have to play very careful with no buyback.
That is infinitely more important than a range or a melee Rex at 70 minutes into the game. Fnatic not happy with that trade whatsoever, as NP once again They're ahead in this game.
So you've got 6 minutes to work with until this buyback is up. How do you play this as NP? Because you've got some wiggle room, right? You can go ahead and play a little bit of farm if you want, you know, X and Y item. Or do you think you just go again?
I mean, they've got buyback on everybody. They could just make an aggressive maneuver forward. If they catch any of the cores on the side of Fnatic without a buyback, that could just mean the game. The supports are in a similar position as Yamata, not even close to a buyback. And I mean, we've talked about how useful this Aghanim Scepter Disruptor is, and we just haven't seen it this entire game.
Yeah.
They desperately need him to start landing that Static Storm. He's got 2 different opportunities for it. He's being way too patient with them, though. In that initial engagement when they went on Mushi, I feel like there was an opening right there, but almost waiting for a perfect situation.
Yeah. And that's just never going to work. NP, they've played 70 minutes against this Disruptor Static Storm. They've learned to adjust their positioning accordingly.
Yes, they've done such a good job of that so far. As In Your Dream now has a Necro Book, really playing the micro game, shoving out all the lanes at once.
Yeah, now we can finally get some chip damage onto these buildings without relying on a hero.
Yes,
to be on the front lines.
Fnatic, they're still playing, they're posturing a lot. They know that their Lifestealer doesn't have this buyback, but maybe if the Disruptor can get a good angle. They're relying on him quite heavily right now. He's been the component missing in these team fights for Fnatic, as they desperately need that lockdown through the BKBs.
Man, they have so much gold on NP. If they just get a little bit more, they're going to be able to commit to some of these big items that they have sitting in their quick buy. We've got an Abyssal Blade that MSS wants to be able to get so we can have further lockdown against the Lifestealer. 7,000 gold on Eternal Envy, so he's pretty close to picking up a new item and having buyback still. They're going to bring on Shadow, run themselves out. Febby, quick to retreat here. His plays are so important because he's holding this valuable Lifestealer without buyback. They're going to be able to get the jump. They've already caught Rose. NP, a brief excursion outside their base does cost them a support life. Not a terribly important hero, but every little bit helps at this point.
The Beastmaster going to get jumped on, immediately loses half his health. Shrine's going to be popped in response. For NP though, it is just an Undying that went down. They're not too concerned about that, as they are just going to be put in a neutral position. And Fnatic, you know they don't really want to go for a straight up push. Is Eternal Envy going to be the target? Febby, are you going to go for this?
Going to be able to get the jump in, Abyssal Blade, or to break through that link, but Eternal Envy does manage to get out of the pops BK. Oh my god, how is he jumping forward like this? He's just man-moding up, and he'll still hit arrow. Mushi ran into it. Ohio's going to come in to get the Static Storm out, but they don't manage to get the vacuum. He refreshes up, still trying to catch these heroes. But Yamate's not going to be able to get the opportunity for a second Static Storm. Not only die here, trying to catch these extra heroes. Ohio turns around, throws out the wall vacuum, but he gets eliminated immediately. Tinker trying to make his way back, hoping to be able to buy enough space for Mushi.
Does not have travel,
but he doesn't have travels. He's only working on phase boost. He's going to be caught here. He does have an invest, but he's just not up in time. He's down for 2 minutes. 100 seconds on the Darkseer, and NP, it looks like they finally found the team fight that ends everything. They've got to push out these lanes, but they're just going to be facing into a Tinker for the next minute and a half.
Eternal Envy just went insane this game.
Turning around like a man.
Yeah, he's got the Satanic, immediately pushes forward, even clips Mushi with the arrow, which is able to give NP the opening to just swarm on top of Fnatic. A little bit too aggressive, that maneuver at top by Febby and Mushi is...
In Your Dream, you're going to have to do something amazing here.
Arrow not going to connect.
If he could get the pick before NP actually starts grouping up, that'd be fantastic, but it seems unlikely. So the next step is making that huge Aghanim's hold inside of his base.
There's a full minute. Everyone has travels, so if they lose any hero, they can just throw bodies right now.
Or NP just going to go straight for tier 4s at a certain point. They're focusing on the Raxes at mid for now, but I think Eternal Envy's made the call. They're going straight for tier 4s.
Where's the hold?
In Your Dream is just not in the position to be able to stop this. They've already taken out one tier 4.
Going way too fast.
He needs to be able to... Oh, the golem's just being dropped just to get the extra damage. This drone is going to be dropped so damn quickly, and then jumped in. Already managed to get one. Rogue's going to be caught inside the Static Storm. They managed to get the big Undying, but it doesn't matter. The damage dealers start focusing on the throne. In Your Dream, he throws himself in front of the throne, desperately trying to stop this push, but it's not going to happen. SP, the claim gets number 2 and close out this series.
After 74 long minutes, such a back and forth battle as NP finally prevails off of the play at top.